about wind turbines. Wind energy facts from the Wind Energy Foundation. 1. Between 2008 and 2012, wind power has provided 36.5% of all new generating capacity in the United States. 2. Windmills have been in use since 2000 BC and were first developed in China and Persia. 3. Wind power is currently the fastest growing source of electricity production in the world. 4. Google has invested $5 billion in a new underwater transmission line to connect offshore wind farms in the Atlantic Ocean with 1.9 million households on the East Coast. 5. A single wind turbine can power 500 homes. 6. In 2012, the Shepherd's Flat Wind Project became the largest online wind project in the United States, 845 megawatts, breaking the record previously held by the Roscoe Wind Farm of 781.5 megawatts. Seven. In 2012, the roughly 140 million megawatt hours generated by wind energy avoided 79.9 million metric tons of carbon dioxide, CO2, the equivalent of reducing power sector CO2 emissions by 3.6%, or removing 14 million cars from the road. 8. There's enough onshore wind in America to power the country 10 times over. 9. New investment in wind energy projects installed during 2012 amounted to $25 billion. 10. Most wind turbines, 79%, are installed on private land. 11. Modern wind turbines produce 15 times more electricity than the typical turbine did in 1990. 12. At times, wind energy produces as much as 25% of the electricity on the Texas power grid. 13. American wind power is a $10 billion a year industry. 14. Unlike nearly every other form of energy, wind power uses virtually no water. 15. By 2030, U.S. wind power will save nearly 30 trillion bottles of water. 16. At times, wind power produces as much as 45% of electricity in Spain. 17. Wind energy became the number one source of new U.S. electricity generating capacity for the first time in 2012. Providing some 42% of all new generated capacity. In fact, 2012 was a strong year for all renewables, as together they accounted for more than 55% of all the new U.S. generating capacity. 18. The fourth quarter of 2012, Texas led the nation in new wind installations with 1,289 megawatts, followed by California, Kansas, Oklahoma, and Iowa. 19. 70% of U.S. congressional districts are home to an operating wind project or a wind-related manufacturing facility, or both. 20. At the end of 2012, the United States was home to 45,000 wind turbines operating across 890 wind projects. 21. Right now, 559 wind-related manufacturing facilities produce a product for the United States wind energy industry across 44 states. 22. Both Nevada and Puerto Rico added their first utility-scale projects during 2012. 23. In 2000, more than 60% of U.S. wind power capacity was installed in California, with 17 states hosting utility-scale wind turbines. Today, 39 states and Puerto Rico share 60 gigawatts of utility-scale wind project developments. '24. Wind is a credible source of new electrical generation in the United States. Wind power comprised 43% of all new U.S. electrical capacity additions in 2012 and represented $25 billion in new investments. Wind power currently contributes more than 12% of total electrical generation in 9 states, 3 of which states are above 20%, and provides more than 4% of total U.S. electrical supply. Source is the 2012 Wind Technologies Market Report. 25. Wind energy prices have dropped since 2009 and now rival previous lows. Lower wind turbine prices and installed project costs, along with improved capacity factors, will enable aggressive wind power pricing. After topping out at nearly $70 per megawatt hour in 2009, the average levelized long-term price from wind power sales agreements signed in 2011-2012, many of which were projects built in 2012, fell to around $40 per megawatt hour nationwide. Wind turbines. How much do they cost? Total cost for installing a commercial-scale wind turbine will vary significantly depending on the number of turbines ordered, the cost of finances, when the turbine purchase agreement was executed, construction contract, the location of the project, and other factors. The cost for a utility-scale wind turbine in 2012 ranged from $1.3 million to $2.2 million per megawatt of nameplate capacity installed. The cost has come down dramatically from what it was just a few years ago. Most of the commercial-scale turbines installed today are 2 megawatts in size and cost roughly $3 to $4 million installed. Wind turbines have significant economies of scale. Smaller farm or residential scale turbines cost less overall, but are more expensive per kilowatt of energy producing capacity. Wind turbines under 100 kilowatts cost roughly $3,000 to $8,000 per kilowatt of capacity. A 10 kilowatt machine, the size needed to power a large home, must have an installed cost of $50,000 to $80,000 or more, depending on the tower type, height, the cost of installation. Oftentimes there are tax and other incentives that can dramatically reduce the cost of wind project. The construction of a wind turbine. Cashton Green Wind Farm, North Wind Turbine Installation. Installing rebar and anchor bolts before cement pour. 45 tons of rebar are used. Foundation after pouring 630 yards of cement. Pouring the last 70 yards of cement in the foundation. Foundation covered up. 150-foot wind turbine blade. 60-foot tower section truck. The load axles have 6 front, there's 6 rear axles, and 50-ton load. 120-foot tower section on a 208-foot truck. Another view of a 120-foot tower section. 100-foot ladder. Tower cables, 1,390 volt DC, 4 generators. Crane base. The crane operator. Seven-ton pulley block. Block repair. View from the pulley block. Setting up the third section. View from inside the tower section. Bolt and nut, 40 pounds. 120-foot tower section lift. One more tower up. Setting 120-foot section. Turbine housing, otherwise called the nacelle. 100 ton going up to 320 feet. On top of the tower. Hooking onto the hub and blade. Tower weight, 300 tons. Tower 330 foot tall. Hub and blade, 70 ton lift. Nacelle, 100 ton, 2.5 megawatt maximum power. Blades 150 feet each. Final lift 330 feet. A completed wind turbine. Inside a wind turbine. Come on in, the tour is about to start. Watch your step. It's a long climb up. The top of the tower. Following slides will change every 10 seconds. This presentation was created by Ward. Contents from various sources, and I do not claim any as my property. No copyright infringement is intended. If any belongs to you, please consider it an honor that this content was worthy enough to be shared.